Hello everyone, I'm Matthew Ivanhoe, president of the Cultivated Collector. Thank you so much for coming by for what promises to be a fantastic episode of Automobiles of Distinction. We're talking about one of our favorites and one of the greatest Ferrari road cars ever produced, the Ferrari 275 GTB4. The 275 represented a bit of a change, a bit of an evolution in Ferrari's approach to their road cars. The 275 was really crafted from its beginning as a road car, but still inherited a lot of race DNA. The 275 was technologically a very, very large leap forward for Ferrari. You had the beginning of four-wheel independent suspension, four-wheel disc brakes, transaxles. I mean, Ferraris previously, they were still live axles, no transaxles, drum brakes weren't that far in the rear view. I mean, you went in a very short period of time, made monster leap in terms of the technology and the way the car actually drives. And it is grossly evident in the way the car actually behaves on the road. The 250 short wheelbase Berlinetta is a magnificent car to drive. Let's just get that out of the way. Epic car, one of the all-time great Ferraris. But when you drive one back to back with a 275, it is wildly evident how far they came in a very, very short period of time. And that was really because Ferrari finally capitulated and started to embrace more, newer technology of the era, which really catapulted the car forward. They started looking forward as opposed to looking backward, and executing to perfection as Ferrari always does. So it yielded a wonderful, fantastic car to drive. And not just that, cloaked in this just achingly gorgeous body, hard to argue with. The car's proportions are just they're so classical. They're really era-defining, long hood, short deck. Aerodynamics are starting to work their way into Ferrari with the 275. It's pretty evident. And even when you look at the evolution of the design of the 275, you see that aerodynamics really are starting to play a role into the car. The very, very early 275s, what now are known as short noses, the reason why they changed the nose of the car was not because they thought, oh yeah, the car needs a little bit of a freshening. It was the car was pretty new. It was that they discovered that the car was getting a little bit light in the nose at high speed, needed to be evolved, and basically it was the shape of the nose created an excessive amount of front lift, so they reshaped the nose. That's what lasted. So it's one of the earliest Ferrari road cars where they're actually starting to pay attention to aerodynamics, and it starts to show. But aerodynamics have not taken over to the point where the car's inherent beauty is affected by it. It's still beauty above all, and it's still very Italian in that way. And I mean, the haunches it has, the louvers, I don't really need to, I shouldn't need to explain why this car is beautiful. It's sui generis, it just is beautiful. But I think what's also really interesting about it is just how relevant the design remained and how influential it was. Like when you look at, for example, the 550 Maranello, in my opinion, you take one look at it and you see, and they acknowledged at the time where their influence was coming from. It was after basically closer than not to, 25 years of mid-engine V12 cars being the top of the line vehicles, Ferrari decided, okay, we're taking a look back, we're going into our heritage. What did they look at? They looked at the 275. Look at a Maranello, look at a 275. Yes, there are other elements of prior Ferrari road cars there. Of course there are. There's elements of Daytona, et cetera, et cetera. But the 275 in my opinion, is the chief car that they cited. And if you really want to start breaking down 275s, I mean, you can slice and dice 275s lots of different ways. You want to get into like little tiny submodels. There are categories of 275 of which there are 5 cars. You want to get into the interim short nose, and it has a bunch of short nose details, but it has a bunch of long nose details. We can really start slicing and dicing. And details that are seemingly small are very important to collectors. The big glaring stuff on a 275 GTB4, of course, is the fact that they went from a single overhead cam to a dual overhead cam engine. One of the side effects of that is the fact that the engine, due to the 4 cam configuration of the cylinder heads, slightly taller. And as a result, the hood that they had previously had would no longer clear the engine that they had just designed for the car. So that little bulge that you see in the hood is a design flourish to be able to clear the air cleaners for the engine at its new height, which functional change, but they made it beautiful, and it is one of the defining, in my opinion, one of the defining elements of the 275's design. I mean, you have other little things. The dashboard changed. The most important thing to look at when you're considering a 4 cam is the fact that a 4 cam represents the ultimate development, the ultimate evolution of 275. It's not just about the 4 cam power plant. It's about the fact that it is 6 carburetors. So you have the 4 cam engine, 6 carburetors. So it's the highest horsepower variant of 275 that they produced. So you have torque tube transmission, which the very early cars, and actually into 275 production, did not have torque tubes. They just had a free drive shaft, which admittedly you can set up the free drive, a drive shaft car can actually be set up to drive well, but it still can produce undesirable driving characteristics. A, if it's not set up well, and B, a torque tube is a superior technological device. And so 275 GTB4 is a 6 carb, 4 cam, torque tube, long nose. It's the ultimate evolution of one of Ferrari's greatest road cars. And that is why it is so desirable. When you're looking for the ultimate, that's what it is. You look at all sorts of other cars, the most expensive, the most desirable variants, the differences between them may not actually be that great between the lesser variants, and the ultimate variants may not be that great, but because it is the ultimate, that alone is justification for its value, for the reverence, etc. The vast majority of performance cars that you drive today are very kind of point and shoot. It's very sort of binary, your experience. It's, zeros and ones, on or off. The 275 is just the way that it moves, the way that it flows is just... It's just so good. It's like doing a beautiful dance. It's delicate, but it's very purposeful. It just has, it has a feel and a fluidity to it that contemporary cars just don't have. I mean, a 275, even by today's standards, on a back road, you can fly in a 275. It is still a monstrously capable car, but you again have this sort of beautiful, delicate dance that you do with it that's just magical, for lack of a better description. It's absolutely fantastic. When people talk about, oh, this car is analog, like when people talk about, oh, the Carrera GT is analog. No. It's still a very electronic car. This is actually an analog car. It is a highly mechanical car. And there is something, for lack of a better description, just romantic as you're, as you're feeding throttle to the car and the revs begin to surge, and then you hear it, you hear it come on cam, and it's just like, the car is so musical. It is so symphonic in a way that that cars today are almost incapable of being. It is magnificent in ways that, and look, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna try and convey to you just how great this car is, but I cannot emphasize this enough. This is one of those cars that, unfortunately, you just can't appreciate just how good it is and just how magical it is until you're physically there. The 275 is a car that we feel is, and we are definitely not alone in this. This is not an unpopular opinion, that we feel is one of the definitive, magnificent automotive experiences. If one is trying to assemble a collection of the truly great, truly definitive automotive experiences, you have to have a 275. Because it is that good. It is that special in every conceivable way. That's why we wanted to do this for all of you, to just try and give you a little bit of the taste of just how wonderful this car is. Thank you so much for going on this journey with us. I'm Matthew Ivanhoe, president of the Cultivated Collector. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, thank you.